Now, this is where things get a little bit interesting here. You guys have heard of Event 201? Have you heard of this? Let me just give you a little synopsis. So, in October of 2019, so this past October, the Johns Hopkins Center for Health and Security hosted a pandemic tabletop exercise called Event 201. And you can go to the site, you can read about it. With partners, and let's just hear who the partners are: the World Economic Forum, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the CIA, the World Bank, the Chinese Center for Disease Control, and who are the other characters on this thing? Bloomberg as well. Bloomberg was in on this too. So this was non-governmental agencies coming together to do a test. It's called Event 201. It was done in October of 2019. So for the scenario, this is them saying, for the scenario, quote, we modeled a fictional coronavirus pandemic, but we explicitly stated that it was not a prediction. Okay, so hold on a minute. So you created a scenario, so you created a test, okay? You were gonna do some kind of exercise to test pandemic measures or whatever. You modeled a fictional coronavirus pandemic. Of course, there are many different strains of coronavirus. All right. And but don't worry, guys. We explicitly said it wasn't any kind of prediction. It was just we were just doing some tests, and then just coincidentally the thing happened. We've seen this how many times? How many times? 9/11, day of the thing. They're doing exercises of the exact scenario while the real scenario happens. Just how many times have we seen this? Okay, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that's interesting. And although our tabletop exercises included a mock novel coronavirus, the inputs we use for modeling the potential impact of that fictional virus are not similar to the coronavirus CoV 2019. So, of course, you're going to backstep and say that. You're like, oh, well, yeah, it wasn't exactly like the coronavirus that's just out, a couple months later was going to spread around the world. It's a good thing we ended up doing this exercise to practice dealing with pandemics. Let's see, several of the occurrences of the CoV 2019 exercise coincided with what really happened. In the Event 201 simulation of a coronavirus pandemic, a 15% collapse of financial markets had been simulated. Another interesting point is that in 2017, the World Bank launched its first ever pandemic bonds to support $500 million of pandemic emergency financing. So they basically created a bonds facility to help deal with any kind of pandemics. This was in 2017. It's just a quick little snippet from the article. So today launched specialized bonds aimed at providing financial support to the pandemic emergency financing facility, a facility created by the World Bank to channel surge funding to developing countries facing a risk of pandemic. This marks the first time that World Bank bonds are being used to finance efforts against infectious diseases, and the first time that pandemic risk in low-income countries is being transferred to the financial markets. So they're like, hey guys, it's about time that we have the World Bank, okay? This isn't something that's done within each nation and decided upon in that way. This is the World Bank that is creating funding, of course, to set themselves up as the saviors, right? Whenever this thing breaks. So, I mean, do you find that interesting? Am I just crazy for thinking about how coincidentally you have the World Bank setting up these bonds, 2017, October 2019. We have some very interesting organizations coming together to do a mock test of exactly what is happening right now. And if you actually go and look at the test, and I don't have hours and hours to break it down all the details, you can go watch all the videos. You can watch them at their conferences talking about it. You can read the documents on it, and you look at what happened in the test, and then you compare that to what's happening right now with the coronavirus. It's just interesting. It's like something out of a movie.